The sun was only a thin line over the horizon when I spotted it. The HOA truck idling at the edge of my property like a predator waiting for a slip. My heart froze for just a beat. This was my land, not theirs. My sweat, my money, my dream. When I first bought this place, the lake was nothing more than a swampy pit of weeds and broken bottles. Trash bobbed on the surface. The dock sagged like it was ready to collapse into the murky water. People said I was crazy to even try, but I had a vision. For months, I worked sunup to sundown, hauling out debris, clearing mud, planting wildflowers along the banks, and fixing the dock until it stood sturdy and strong again. What everyone else had abandoned, I rebuilt with my own hands. So when I saw her, a woman in a perfectly pressed blazer, clipboard clutched like a weapon, I felt the sting of intrusion. She didn't hesitate. She marched across the grass like she owned it and barked at me before I could even greet her. "You can't do this here. This lake belongs to the HOA." I gripped my rake tighter, grounding myself. "Excuse me?" I asked evenly, keeping my voice calm even as my blood heated. She shoved a faded, weather-beaten notice in my face, one of those empty threats I loved to wave around. It claimed I was violating community rules. But I knew better. This land wasn't under their thumb. The lake, the soil beneath it, even the water rights, all mine. "This is private property," I said firmly. Her response was a laugh. A sharp, entitled laugh that scraped against my nerves. "Private? You think a little piece of paper means anything here?" Her eyes gleamed with arrogance as she scanned my land, already pulling her phone to her ear. I took a deep breath. I had prepared for this. I just hadn't expected it to start so fast. She called the cops. I muttered under my breath, tension crawling up my spine. But I held my ground, stepping forward, meeting her gaze without flinching. "I didn't fight for this country just to be told I can't restore a lake on my own land," I said, my voice steady, surprising even me. Her smirk faltered for the first time when I added, almost casually, "By the way, I own every inch of this property, including the water rights." She froze mid-sentence on her call, her confidence breaking like glass under pressure. But I knew better than to relax. This was just the opening move. The lake behind me shimmered in the morning light, calm but ready, like a battlefield waiting for its first strike. My knuckles whitened around a rake. "Let's see how far your HOA rules really reach," I whispered. Her eyes flicked to the dock, to the flowers I planted, to the freshly restored shoreline. I could see the calculation in her face. She hadn't expected a fight, but pride forced her to square her shoulders, raise her chin, and say louder this time, "I'm giving you 24 hours to remove everything, or we'll take legal action." Her voice carried the false fire of someone who relied on intimidation, someone used to people caving under pressure. I let her words hang in the air, heavy and ominous. Then slowly I smiled. "You might want to check the property records first." Her jaw clenched. "I don't need to." "Actually, you do," I cut in. "Because I've got the original deed, signed water rights, and survey maps that show your HOA has zero jurisdiction here." She blinked too fast. Her facade cracked. "That's impossible," she stammered. I leaned against the dock like I had all the time in the world. "Oh, it's very possible. And if you try to send anyone onto my land, I'll be ready. So will my cameras." Right on cue, her phone buzzed again. She looked at the screen, and this time, for the first time, real fear flashed across her face. She muttered into the receiver, "Yes, he has documents." "I don't know." I raised my voice so anyone listening could hear. "If you involve law enforcement with false claims, that's impersonation. And I keep copies of everything." Her hands trembled around the clipboard. She hissed weakly, "I'm just enforcing the rules." "Rules?" I stepped closer, lowering my voice to a warning. "You mean fake rules? On my land?" Her shoulders slumped, her confidence unraveling. That's when I spotted it, a badge tucked halfway out of her purse. At first glance, official. But the design was wrong. A fake. "Fake cops now," I muttered. "Classic." Her face flushed, but she didn't deny it. She didn't have to. "I don't want to fight," I said evenly. "But I will protect what's mine. And you better think carefully about how far you want to push this." The wind rippled across the lake, amplifying my words. For the first time, fear eclipsed her arrogance. Then the black SUV pulled up. Two men in plain clothes stepped out, flashing questionable badges. "We're with the HOA Enforcement Division," one announced. I raised an eyebrow. "Interesting. Let's see your paperwork." They hesitated, glancing nervously at the clipboard still shaking in her grip. The performance was falling apart. "Gentlemen," I said, my voice steady, "if you're here to enforce fake claims, you're trespassing. And it's all on camera." The men shifted uneasily, whispering to each other. One finally muttered, "Maybe we should call this off." Her face went pale. I stepped forward, lifting my folder of documents like a shield and a sword all in one. "This lake, this land, it's mine, every inch. And if anyone tries to claim otherwise, it'll be in court, on the record and on tape." The wind stirred again, the dock groaning as if backing me up. Around us, I realized neighbors had gathered quietly, watching from their yards. Some were even filming. The HOA Queen's power wasn't just cracking, it was collapsing publicly. "I suggest you leave," I said firmly. For a long moment, she just stood there, jaw working, face pale. Then, finally, she snapped her clipboard shut and spun on her heel. She stormed to her car, muttering threats that sounded hollow even to her. The fake enforcers followed, defeated and unsure. I let the weight of relief settle in. From behind the house, my wife appeared, smiling knowingly. She'd been ready too. We both had. I walked to the dock, staring out at the shimmering water I had fought for. My hands, scarred and calloused from the work, rested on the railing I had rebuilt. The lake was more than just a project. It was proof of resilience. Proof that dreams, when fought for, could stand against anyone's attempt to tear them down. The neighbors waved. Some even clapped quietly. Word would spread. They all knew the HOA Queen had lost today. "You don't mess with someone's dream," I whispered, watching the sunlight dance across the water. "Especially not their home." The breeze carried my words across the lake, and I knew this battle wasn't just one. It would be remembered.